It was basically going to arrive after the con. Yummy! Not gonna lie, I've had poke every day. I thought I would want to share how much it typically costs to vend at Kawaii Kon. Hello, it is day one and the first day of Kawaii Kon. We have special guest Henry of Sticker Zoo here.
I'm back, not on my channel, as always.
Yeah. Someone edit his videos because he's got a whole backlog. We're here in Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm very excited to be here because it is actually my first time in Hawaii in a very long time. I think the last time I was here, I was 5. So obviously, very different experience as a child versus an adult.
Basically weren't here.
I was not here. I had no consciousness at 5 years old, so what do I know? If you're not familiar with this convention, Kawaii Kon is Hawaii's largest anime convention that is held on the island of Oahu. Since this convention is typically one of the more expensive ones to vend at for a number of reasons, mostly because Hawaii is a very popular tourist destination, you've got a lot to spend. What is that? Oh, he's giving a map. Wow. No PNGs here. We are all practical effects at this vlog. I thought I would want to share how much it typically costs to vend at Kawaii Kon, or one example of a convention. Though I will say it might be a little bit more expensive than it usually is, mostly because we did want to treat this more so as a vacation convention rather than a typical convention tour. Usually I try to limit my costs to lodging, flight, helper, among other things. However, because for us, we have heard that this convention is pretty decent. It's not a big moneymaker, so to say, and it's not a bad convention or low in terms of revenue. It's just decent. So I'm honestly happy if I'm going to make back the costs of expenses at this convention, because if you've also seen a few other RSLE vloggers videos, which I'm sure you have, about this convention, this is most commonly termed a vacation con, so to say. So you're not usually here to make big bucks. You're here to have a great time. If I profit, that would be great. But all that is to say, I did want to treat this video more so to share how much it costs for me to vend at Kawaii Kon with the mindset of this being a vacation for myself as a full-time artist from Los Angeles. So starting off with flights, I still have to calculate that number, but I will have the total up here. So because I am covering the cost of my flight and his flight, we did fly through Delta because I do have status with them. Flew out of LAX. It was a direct flight, which is nice. Also, if I do miss anything in terms of how much I did end up paying for certain things, whether that's food, lodging, etc., I will have it listed up here. In terms of setup, we did set up yesterday for day 0. I believe you did have 2 options to set up for Kawaii Kon. You could set up Wednesday or Thursday. I will say the hours are a little bit different this time because the Hawaii Convention Center is going through some reconstruction, some renovations, and so Kawaii Kon is very limited to the hours that is given to them by the convention center, which is really unfortunate.
Welcome to day 1 exhibitors. We're going to extend your setup time.
They're extending the setup time.
They're extending the setup time?
They gave us an extra hour to set up, which is great because there were a few tables that were completely blank, and now there's a lot of applause happening.
Yeah,
as
they gave
deserved.
30-minute setup to some of the artists. One of my friends just flew in, and she was like, I don't have anything on my table. The badge says 5:30 setup to 6 p.m., but I guess they're extending it another 30 minutes.
As stated, we do have 2 days to set up. It was either Wednesday, mostly for locals who are from the area and can set up on Wednesday, and Thursday, me, non-local, because we did fly in Wednesday, but I didn't really want to set up on Wednesday. And for setup for both days, it was from like 5:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. So very limited. I will say it is a little bit longer for most people because some people don't really need to take that long. However, I take a very long time because I just go all in my display, and I'd rather finish it up here and there versus coming back earlier during con day and then set up the rest of it. But all that is to say, it was pretty limited. Compared to past years, I'm assuming that there was a longer period of time in which you could set up for the convention and you're not limited to those limited hours for each day. But I'm not sure if that will be the same thing for next year's Kawaii Kon, but something to consider because I do think the convention center is going to undergo more innovations until 2027? 2028. So the hours for this convention, it is a 3-day convention. It is Friday. I guess I did extend it, so it'll be 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. which is a little bit later. I personally like those hours because then I can sleep in, get to enjoy this area, and not have to worry about waking up early. I will say it does end late, but I'll deal with that. It's fine. Saturday is from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., which is typical con hours, not too bad. I think 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. is pretty decent. And then Sunday is from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I'm assuming that it is from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., which usually is 10 to 5 p.m. or maybe 10 to 4, mostly because they want to accommodate for attendees who could not go on Friday or maybe would rather go on a day that is longer. Because the other situation that is something to note for this convention is that the parking structure, I believe, is closed. So if you wanted to park for this con, you have to find a different lot in the surrounding area, which is unfortunate, which is why for this convention, my expectations are going to be pretty low. One, again, no parking structure. Two, they did limit the amount of attendees who can come to this convention versus in past years, I don't think there was a particular cap, but since there is construction, maybe there is a limited amount of attendees who can be in the building. They probably capped it. And so obviously with a capped attendee count, that might mean less revenue in terms of possibilities. So again, low expectations, still very happy to be here. This is a dream convention of mine, mostly because I just haven't been able to go to this convention because I either have other plans. Most of the time it usually lined up when I was in Japan, but in this case, they did also move it to late April when it's usually in mid to late March, maybe early April, but we'll see how it goes. We got a lovely gift. Look at this. This is so sweet. Thank you so much. I forgot to ask her name. I apologize. We got macadamia nut, puff rice snacks. Thank you so much. So many goodies. Oh, this is hefty. Cookies. We got cookies.
Oh, wow.
Chocolate chip cookies. These are really hefty. Look at that. So many chocolate. So much chocolate. Thank you so much. This is so sweet of you. I appreciate you stopping by and for supporting the business. Thank you. Hope you had a good con. It is currently 7:45 and I'll say it's pretty decent in terms of numbers. It's not crazy numbers though. I will say I haven't really had a chance to check every transaction so far, but it's more so based on vibes, and because today is only 4 hours long, I didn't really expect too much. However, pretty pleasant, pretty good. I would say even though there's not as many transactions, it's been pretty steady, and each transaction has been relatively big just because I do think that it is a lot of customers who have purchased from me in the past or know of me, so a lot of them did come by. So thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. So nice to meet all of y'all, especially if I haven't been in Hawaii in ever, at least for Mualcaina, so I appreciate you. But I'll check in a little bit. There's a bit of a crowd. Just some initial thoughts on this convention. Again, it's only been about 2 hours since con started. However, of course, when it comes to convention, this all starts as soon as you are accepted, right? So I will say I do appreciate the communication brought forth by Kawaii Kon staff. However, I will note that one thing to learn about with this convention is that you actually don't know your table numbers until a week before the con, and you could argue that this is because of construction. Naturally, with the convention center dealing with renovations, Kawaii Kon staff is subject to the demands of what construction is telling them, right? If they need to push back the convention an hour later, they will have to do that because that is what the convention center says. I already went into that knowing that this convention is going to be on a kind of flexible basis, especially during the weekdays, because of that. However, I don't know if this has been mentioned in other people's artist alley vlogs. I've watched so many that I don't remember. If you are in a stamp rally, just to note, you probably won't know your table number until a week before con. There's two ways to combat that, or at least learn how to adjust to that. One is to have the table number blank so that you can write in the table numbers once you get them, especially if you don't have the time to waste when it comes to sending in your order of stamp cards, receiving them, and then you get your table number late, right? The second one that I've seen on Discord is to have a QR code on your stamp card, and then attendees will just have to scan it, get the map through there, and then get the map layout. And at least with that, you can update it whenever you do receive table numbers. Of course, some people don't really like scanning QR codes because it could be a virus or some other malware. Of course, understandable. But those are two ways to be flexible when it comes to events that are going to be a bit late when sending table numbers, because I have heard that with this convention, you don't really know your table numbers until a week or so beforehand. I think one of the years it might have been the week of the convention. So just note that for future, regardless if there is construction or not. Also, in terms of communication with this event, and I have heard that this was the case in past years. I'm actually not sure about 2 years ago, but this was the case last year. Following the week of Kawaii Kon, you get a lot of messages on Eventini. From what I'm used to with a lot of conventions, usually they have one specific place where they will have all the load-in info. Maybe they'll update it every so often, but usually it's just one central localized place. But with Kawaii Kon, it's usually a situation where you get multiple messages. And for myself, when it comes to events, I feel that I shouldn't receive too many messages, because then I get confused, in which I'm not sure where to or which message to prioritize. And if I just receive a lot, especially as someone who is traveling over, I'm doing a lot of things right now versus I am local, it's kind of hard to follow. And I've noticed this with a lot of vendors voicing the same opinion. Again, I do appreciate the communication, but this may be a bit of a lot of messages, and it's just very confusing. Communication is always appreciated, of course. Let's walk around the convention. So this is the end of Artist Alley, where they have autographs. There's a few empty spots, surprisingly. So it is currently 9:20, so it is much later in the day. If anything, we only have 40 minutes until con ends. I will say I am very pleasantly surprised, because... Did I say I will say? No! He's been counting the amount of times that I've been saying I will say, which now that I'm cognizant of how frequently I've been saying it, I'm a bit more self-conscious about me saying it a lot, but take a shot of water every time I say it. Looking at today's numbers, I'm actually pretty satisfied with the amount that we made in the span of 4 hours, which in my usual con days, it's not where we typically would hit. For 4 hours, it's pretty good. I'm not sure if this is the usual crowd that comes to Kawaii Kon or how busy the crowd is, but it feels relatively busy for a Friday, at least from what I'm used to. It's kind of funny because I was telling Henry that everyone's just so nice here. Like, everyone's very kind and very warm. For this convention, which is an alternative to me participating in stamp rallies, because I feel that I have worked in so many stamp rallies to the point where I feel a bit burnt out with stamp rallies, that I decided to introduce some sort of exclusive sticker for the conventions that I feel like doing this at. Sometimes I don't feel like doing anything just because I'm tired, or I worked on a whole other collection, but for this convention at least, and a few other ones coming up, I do have exclusive sticker designs. And for this one, it is this Kawaii Kon Spam Musubi sticker, which is super cute. It has all of my OCs on it, and it says Kawaii Kon 2026. So I did want to have this as my sort of stamp rally, in that if you spend over $25, you do get this free Musubi sticker. So it's very, very cute. Thank you for everyone who expressed interest in it, especially in person. It was really nice seeing a few people ask if I still had the sticker. Yes, I do. Only had about 50 for the weekend, so in order to split that up, I did want to only offer 15 per day. So if you were the first 15 to spend 25 or more, you do get the sticker. However, I did allot a few more for Saturday in case it is a bit more busy. I will say for the sticker design, I do also have it as an acrylic keychain. However, it does not say Kawaii Kon on it, and I don't have this available as a sticker either. So if you did want a Musubi type of design with my OCs, I only have it as a keychain. But for Kawaii Kon weekend, you do get this sticker, which is super duper cute, and it's vinyl, so it's waterproof, weatherproof. You can put on your water bottle, and it's great. Thank you.
Going more.
Good morning. It is 9:24 and we just got to the con. We're chilling for now since con starts at 10 and we're eating our spam musubi from ABC stores.
It's 2 for $4 this weekend. They have a deal going on from April 25th, which is today, until May 1st. 2 spam musubis for $4 at the ABC store.
It's great. So took advantage, and we also got some poke just to try. Can't wait. It's our first time at Kawaii Kon. It's also your first time at Kawaii Kon. Mentally, I have been here mostly through everyone else's vlogs, so it is very surreal to be here. It's interesting because Artist Alley closes an hour after exhibitors. However, we're in the same hall. Like over here is exhibitors. I don't know if Lindsay's here. Could say hi. And then Artist Alley's over there. Very surreal to be here because I've been like studying all of your Kawaii Kon vlogs. I was like, watch all of them.
They're not helpful though.
No, they are though. Because of you and Suzume, I brought a fan during setup, and I was like, thank God, because it was so hot. Yesterday I had very low expectations, but yesterday was better than I expected for like 4 hours. I was like, okay. All I'm hoping for, I'm like, can my expenses just be paid off in a vacation con? Yeah. Good luck. Bye-bye. Yeah, I think there's about 400 vendors. I don't know if that's 400 vendors total or if that is Artist Alley specifically. Sang, good morning. Hello, how are you? Good. I'm like, I'm gonna be more sleepy tomorrow with the 9 a.m. start. Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking about today. But yeah, it was really congested for a Friday, which I was surprised, like just based on even people walking through. Yeah, because I'm like, I think it's a double-edged sword being in front of the autographs because one, you could say that it's good because people are waiting there, so they don't really have any other thing to do besides be on their phone or see who's behind them or the artists around them. But it also depends on the orientation of where the line is, because if they're not facing you, then that doesn't really help you. It depends. I mean, I've been in a section where I'm near the autographs, like for Anime Frontier, and that was also helpful, but I think it was just because there were so many artists as well, or so many attendees as well.
Empty tables.
There's a lot of empty tables. I don't know if they sell Artist Alley spaces. I know some cons do that. Like ASIN does have a lottery for artists who are interested in getting a table. Oh, wow. Hello. Your Pocopia ones are so good. Did you see that? That's so good.
Dang.
Good luck. Bye. What are we? 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. What am I looking at? I'm like, I'm literate, I promise. I think the only thing is I wish there were signage for the other side. This is also asking for a lot, but because I don't know what aisle I'm in unless I look there, but then it's also not double-sided. Yeah, the thing with the 8-foot table side, you can bring another table so that you can make it bigger, especially if you have a corner. Yeah, these are very nice displays, very hefty. Yeah, very hefty displays. I don't think there is a height limit for the 8-foot. I believe for the 6-foot, it's about 5 feet from the table, around that. But for 8-foot, I don't think there is a height limit. Oh, that's so smart. Since they're next to each other, they were able to put their stamp rally there. Oh, it's so good.
That was smart. Wait, hold on.
If you didn't already, I do stream on Twitch. I stream once a week to once every other week where I talk about Artist Alley, small business things, work on upcoming products and designs, stamp rallies, hang out with other Artist Alley friends, and so much more. If you don't want to miss my next stream, consider following me on Twitch. Thank you so much for your support. What's your name?
Henry.
Henry. Oh, also Henry.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Macy. Nice to meet you.
Nice name.
Yes, I'm like somewhere there. Yeah.
Over there, I'll come visit.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but really.
Yeah, because this is the entrance. And of course, if you have Pro Row, which is a little bit more expensive.
Awesome videos.
Oh, thank you. That's the entrance. Con starts in 6 minutes. And this is the pro area. I keep calling it Pro Row. I don't think that's the actual name. I'm confusing it with
Pro tables.
another one. Yeah, they're like the pro tables, which are slightly more expensive because you have 2 feet more space. So naturally, of course, you should be closer to the entrance. And then on the other side is regular artist alley. And then on this side is exhibitors. I believe for exhibitors, you're not allowed to have fan art. So keep that in mind. But fan art is okay for artist alley, of course. Yeah, you're not able to choose your spot from my understanding for a regular artist alley. I'm assuming for pro table, you're also not able to choose your spot, but you can add notes. So I'm sure with friends, you can request to be next to each other. Yeah, you don't get the table number until a week before con. So just know that for stamp rallies. I like what she did with the top. Are they here yet? Oh, they are. Hello. Oh my gosh. Good luck. Also, I didn't ship for this con, mostly because I had issues with shipping, so I thought I'll just bring everything.
How come you didn't ship?
Because it was like 2 weeks. It was like 2 weeks long, and I'm like, why would I do that? Hi. Oh, it's okay. I need to start. Oh, it's already 10. It's already 10. So far, we've been using these party tablecloths from Daiso, and they've been really helpful, especially if you want to keep it light when you're traveling to cons. I will say for, like the local conventions or cons where I'm driving, I probably won't use this just because I like my canopy walls and I don't really have to care about weight. But if I am flying, I will probably use this because it's very light and it's a good way to cover your table. So I usually have 2 of them. And then you just clip them with binder clips or some kind of clamp. See? It's very compact, very light, very flat. You can just insert it somewhere. It's great. I'm like looking at my display and I feel like because these don't have any pins on there, it makes it look like I don't have any pins. But then there's like all these pins here. So I don't know how I feel about that. But then I also wanted to showcase the lads ones because they're new. Oh wow. I also forgot to put the price sign because I ran out of 25s. All right, ready to go? Let's go. It is currently 11:45, so no, 11:44. So some quick updates on this con now that it's only been an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, though it feels like it's been a bit longer somehow. I will say we're doing really well. We've sold out of a couple Ita bags, but again, I don't really get to bring a lot, so I also just didn't ship any this time because I don't think I fully explained earlier, but so I wanted to ship out some product, right? Because I usually do that at least 1 box because I do have Ita bags and I want to bring as many Ita bags as I can. However, I'm used to shipping out packages at least a week in advance, so there's enough time for it to arrive to the hotel regardless of where I am in the US. However, I didn't account for Hawaii being a little bit further out, and I think if my package was a bit smaller, it would have been fine. However, I usually ship a 30 to 40 pound box that is about 3 feet by 2 feet, 1.5 feet. Actually don't know, I usually know it in centimeters, but it's a relatively big box because I used it from the boxes that arrived to me when I get my Ita bags. So of course with that type of box, it ended up being around $200 or so, which is already a bit more expensive than what I'm used to when I'm shipping within the United States. And the scheduled time for the cheapest option for UPS, it was basically going to arrive after the con. By that point, there's no reason for me to ship product, and even if I were to expedite it, it was almost $300. Not worth it for me. I would essentially have to sell at least 3 Ita bags, and that entire box fits about 6 to 7 Ita bags. So what was the point of that? Personally, it wasn't worth it for me, especially if I can't guarantee selling those Ita bags. So I thought, you know what, let's just max out the 50 pounds for 4 checked luggages. I think we'll be fine. So far, it seems pretty good, at least in terms of the rate that we're selling Ita bags. I do believe that we will get under 50 pounds for checked luggages, so I'm not too worried about that. If anything, I'm more worried about whether I can bring enough souvenirs home because I thought I wasn't going to, but then I realized, wait, there's a Don Quixote here. I really like the snacks here, so I have to go bring some back home. So that is one thing I have to worry about, but other than that, it's been pretty decent. Surprisingly, out of the other conventions that I've had sticker sheets at, this one has been selling pretty well for my sticker sheets. I would say that every other transaction, if not every third transaction, is usually sticker sheets, which is very pleasing to me. So thank you so much if you bought a sticker sheet. I think in general, just thank you if you came by and bought something from the booth. But it was also very nice to see that the sticker sheets were moving, because that was something that I wanted to move into for my business, is decrease the number of stickers that I have, but increase the number of sticker sheets. So it's nice seeing that they are doing well. So I appreciate it. So if you didn't know already, I do have a good amount of conventions happening in the month of May and June. So if you weren't able to make it to Kawaii Kon, don't worry. I'm basically traveling throughout the US. I'll be doing 4 back-to-back conventions, which is probably the most I've ever done back-to-back. So I'm a little nervous, but luckily I do have a helper for each one of them, so I'm not too worried about it. The first one will be Anime Central in Rosemont, Illinois, so near Chicago. Very excited to be back. Last time I was there was for Anime Magic, and the last time I was at ASIN was 2023, so very curious to see how it's changed since then. I believe my table is F23, so I have a very big booth. Then I will also be at Fanime in San Jose, California. Happy to be back at Fanime again. I'm expected to have a few new things specifically for Fanime, so hope to see you there. Though I do know I am usually in the San Jose area, but it'll be different with an anime convention type of setting. I'll also be at Anime Riverside. We'll actually be in the Artist Alley this time, which is going to be an interesting change because I have not been in the Artist Alley section since 2022. That'll be the first time I'll have my new Otani stickers, so be ready for that. I will be debuting a new Otani pin and Deco pin. If you saw my Twitch stream, I did work on that pin design in that stream, so if you know, you know. And then finally, to round off that 4-week period is Phoenix Fan Fusion. My table number is here. I will be in the exhibitor spot. It'll be my first time vending in Phoenix, Arizona. Don't know what to expect. I just know it's gonna be ridiculously hot. I don't know how I will manage, but I'll force myself to manage. And then of course I will be on a 2 to 3 week mini event hiatus until Anime Expo, where I will be at this table number. I will be in 2 stamp rallies. Looking forward to those 2. And then I have a few other conventions happening, but I also am excited to announce I will be back at Otakon this coming summer. I haven't been back since 2024, so I am very grateful to have the opportunity to come back. I will be in the standard table section, and I will be sure to debut a few new items for that con, but I will announce it more so on social media. Let me know if you'll be at any of those conventions. Hope to see you there. I realized I took the mask off, but I was taking photos of my thumbnail, or for the thumbnail. In terms of temperature, right now, does it even say what it is outside? It's currently 79 degrees outside. However, it's humid, but it is a bit cooler from what I've heard this weekend versus last year's Kawaii Kon. I believe last year was in mid-March, so this time it's in late April. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the typical climate in Hawaii, or at least in Honolulu, but it's been pretty decent. Oh, thank you. Oh, cute. Oh wait, this is funny. We just got some goodies. Thank you for stopping by. In terms of temperature, it's been pretty warm, at least outside. Of course, the temperature and climate here is pretty humid, so that's one thing to know if you're not familiar or used to that type of climate. I have been wearing pretty loose clothes that I can feel cool in. Definitely no pants. I'm skirts and shorts all the way. Don't wear pants here unless you really need to or feel very comfortable and are used to it in this type of humid climate. No pants con weekend. Inside the convention, it's not too bad. I did bring a fan just in case. However, I haven't felt the need to use a fan quite yet. It was more so during setup yesterday. I know I was pretty upset about not having air conditioner yesterday. However, I have been told that in past years there usually is an AC on during setup, so I would say just be ready that there might not be AC, but hopefully there is. Right now the AC is blasting. Luckily I don't feel too warm, though I did feel a little bit warm before con opened, but I think that's just when they were warming up the AC. In terms of the crowd, it has calmed down a little bit. Maybe it's because it's lunchtime, so a lot of people are either going to the different panels or taking a break and having some food before they continue on with the convention. There are a lot of food options in the close vicinity. I know there's like a few ABC stores, which is why we got some spam musubi earlier. Also got really good poke there. Pretty impressed, though, you know, I'm used to California poke. There's also a few fast food restaurants that are close by if you just want something really quick. I will say in terms of food, I think the convention does not allow outside food, but if you are a vendor, they might turn a blind eye, which I would hope so for vendors. Like most of the time, especially if you're soloing, you can't just leave your booth. You should be able to bring food in, especially if you have a chronic illness or food allergies that limit you to only eating specific food items. You should be able to bring your own food. But there are also really good food options in the convention center. I think it's the same matcha place that everyone was raving about last year. I'm not sure. Haven't tried it yet. We got a lovely gift earlier. Thank you to Phantom Heejin. This is their username. Thank you so much for stopping by. They gave us this really cool candy lei, which I didn't even know was a thing. This is so cool. I think they also gave us a goodie bag. Where is it? Thank you so much. This is so sweet of you. Hope you had a good con, and thank you for stopping by and saying hi. We were well fed this weekend. So for the sticker sheet and the 3 for $30 deal on keychains with text, this is your total. You can tap when you're ready. It'll ask you a few questions on the screen. Oh, did it? Here. Did it decline? Oh, yeah. We can try again. 30 plus 8, it'll be 38. 38? Right, out of 40, your change is 2. You're all good. 1, 2, $2 is your change. And then let me get this set for you. So this, since your purchase is, you do get 2 free ribbons. So this one, and then choose 2 of your choice. Those 2? Okay. Perfect. And you also get this free sticker as well, since it's over 25. You're all set. Thank you so much. Have a good con. Thank you. Did you get that one? Yeah. Okay. I forgot to ask for your name earlier, but thank you so much for the goodies. And thank you for saying hi. Oh my, this is so cute. Ooh, they're mini wipes. Thank you so much. And then there's stickers. Look at the stickers. Thank you so much for stopping by. Oh, here's your username. Thank you. Oh, hi. Thank you for saying hi.
Of course. I also came to make a purchase. I'm very excited.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I feel very loved at this convention. Thank you so much. Because tell me why. This entire weekend, I was like, I really want to get Honolulu cookies. Maybe I'll wait till right before we leave. You came through and gave us cookies. Like, this is actually so goated. Thank you so much. I was actually so surprised. Look how cool. This is so cool. If you didn't know, Honolulu Cookies or Honolulu Cookie is the name of the brand, and they're really well known for their shortbread cookies that are shaped like pineapples. And I want to try them because I was like, oh, I know them. I've seen them before. I want to get some and bring some home for souvenirs. And you came through. So thank you, DJ, for the cookies. This is so sweet. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and we will feast. Thank you. I have this fancy one. It's like white chocolate dipped. Wow. I just realized part of this convention is outside. What the heck? This part is outside, but that's also because the weather's so nice. Very tropical. This whole line is just to go downstairs. It doesn't make any sense. Why is it so long? Hello, it is 4:46, and I'll say it has slowed down a bit considerably, at least compared to the earlier hours in the day. My assumption is that a lot of people are pooped out and want to get some rest, probably grab some early dinner. If not, there are a few panels that are happening right now, so I can imagine that a lot of people are going to that. But otherwise, I'm pretty satisfied with today. We have sold out on a good amount of things, especially the mystery bag keychains, which is a very pleasant surprise. Very pleasantly surprised about the acrylic keychains because they tend to not sell that well. I'm sad about that, but for this convention, y'all pulled through. Thank you for loving the keychains. Vinyl sticker sheets, as mentioned, they're doing well. Now that I have looked at today's numbers, I'm very, very satisfied with them. I was actually expecting less, but I'm solid day. Thank you so much. I'm kind of tired. It is warm now. I'm not sure why, because I feel like there's less people in here, but I feel the humidity because my hair feels more frizzy than it usually is. Kind of reminds me of Asen. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Before I came to Kawaii Kon, I was expecting the convention to be pretty small in terms of the attendance and like how much money you could make as a vendor here, and also just the festivities. But maybe other people's experiences, they're kind of playing it down because they are comparing Kawaii Kon to a lot of other conventions. But in my opinion, so far I feel like Kawaii Kon is really huge. It's like their main one big convention in the year. So the amount of people that are waiting in the escalator to go up and down, the amount of people waiting outside, the amount of people in the lobby. I went to the video game section. There's tons of people playing video games. But other than that, I think it's actually a lot bigger than I expected. Like even in the Artist Alley hall right now, there's lots of people. Maybe not flooded, but like there's a good amount of people. A lot of people can walk through without having to squeeze. I haven't even explored everything, but I would say that this convention is huge. I was asked if I would apply for this convention, which I have. I've applied twice. Sadly, I've not gotten in, which is okay. I'll continue applying until eventually I do get in, hopefully. But I have heard a lot about this con through other people. So with all that in mind, I would still continue to apply and hope to get in as a way of just, extending the outreach of Sticker Zoo, my business, to more attendees and potential customers out here in Hawaii. Since I've never been here before, it's kind of cool to see what people like to buy and how people interact with the vendors. Everyone's super nice here. Shout out to you for watching this video.
Also, just to add on with my thoughts on Kawaii Kon, of course, there's still one more day. I will say if you are watching the other Kawaii Kon vlogs, right now, I'm very satisfied with my numbers, right? But that's also because my expectations are very, very low to begin with. And for the other vloggers who have done Kawaii Kon before, they've done it multiple years. From my understanding with this convention, the more frequently you do it, I wouldn't say that your revenue is going to be on the downturn. However, you can expect higher revenue, so to say. And that's because it's similar to a lot of conventions where there is a lot of loyal attendees or attendees who tend to come every year. One other example is SAC Anime Summer, possibly even SAC Anime Winter, where the base attendees are people who are from the area, most likely local, and go every year. So of course, if you are seeing the same people every year, they might have already bought from you the prior year. So they might not buy from you again unless you release more product. And of course, for some people, they might not be able to do that. It is quite a lot of work to bring out new items every year, but that is something to know. If you do return to this convention, you might not do as well as the previous year. If not, it won't be a very drastic increase to the previous year. So if I were to do this next year, if I get in, again, luckily, I would not expect the same numbers as this year, just because this year I'm doing well because I'm new here. Might not be the same for next year. And my snack for today is these matcha Alfort cookies. They're very good, and I remember really liking them when I get them at the Konbini, and they had some at Don Quijote, so had to buy some. They're really good. I would recommend it if you like matcha. So it is now 5:44, and now that there's about an hour, 20 minutes until con ends, I almost forgot about this, but essentially, even though we are in the same hall as exhibitors, it's all one big hall, Artist Alley and exhibitors are in the same area. Exhibitors does close early, so they close at 6 p.m., whereas we close at 7 p.m. And from what I've seen in the vlogs, usually Artist Alley does pick up within the last hour of con, just because people who are usually in the exhibitors are going to move into the area that is open, so they're going to move into Artist Alley. I think for dinner, we probably will get poke. We'll see what's in the area. It is late by the time we're done. I'm not sure if any other restaurants are open, but I'm just ready to knock out because we are going to have to wake up pretty early tomorrow since con starts at 9 a.m. I feel like I've overestimated the amount of snacks that I needed. I still have this whole box of, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it, but it's these really nice biscuits. I think the first time I tried this was in Japan. Not exactly this particular brand, but I have tried something similar where it's a thin biscuit and there's a little bit of cream in the center. I do remember that Bianca had given us some during Friend Fest to try. Really liked it, and I thought, you know what, I like it, and I saw it at Donkey, so I got some to try. I think there were other flavors. There was mango and another one, but I don't remember.
My $16 meal, and it's so good. Hella shrimp, hella fish, and hella rice.
Go shopping, hungry. Yummy! It is. At least it's not. Hello, it is day 3 and the final day of Kawaii Kon. It is currently 8:33 and it is very warm inside. I do know that the AC is on, but I feel very humid and I really want to put my neck fan on, but I feel like it'll interfere with the audio. Thinking about yesterday's numbers and just thinking about the overall weekend of Kawaii Kon, even though there is still one more day left. My goal for this event is to just cover expenses, and if I were to make profit, that would be great, which isn't usually my goal for most events because typically I would like to make profit, right? You've seen me mention it in the other vlogs if I have talked about my expectations for an event, and it's usually not to just cover expenses. However, for this one, because going into it, I did know that it can be quite expensive going here. A lot of people treat it as a vacation con. I've never been to Kawaii Kon, so to me, this was more of a treat rather than an actual convention where I am working for myself. It is more so I am working for a vacation. Even seeing the other thoughts of vendors who have done this event before, they said that they are on the lower end when it comes to revenue. Again, I had no expectations going in. There's nothing for me to compare it to since this is my first Kawaii Kon, so to me, I'm very pleasantly surprised. Some information about Kawaii Kon. There are 2 different artisali types. There is the regular standard artisali table, and then there's also pro table. I can only talk about standard table because that's the kind of table that I currently have. Standard table is 6 by 2 feet. I paid about $300 for the table. I know there's some fees involved, and I think it's about $3 to $4, so around $304. The standard table does come with 1 badge, 2 chairs, and 1 table. Since I did bring a helper with me, I did end up paying an additional $67 or so then I would get 2 badges total. This is what the badge looks like. Oops, gotta appreciate the holo. I do like when badges have an effect like this. The artisali is relatively big. There are about 196 pro tables and 208 regular artisali tables, so there are about 400 artists in this hall, and that's not including the artists who are potentially in vendor hall. One thing to know, which is something that I just remembered, one of the reasons why some of my friends decided not to apply for Kawaii Kon this year was because of the convention center remodeling. Kawaii Kon did limit the amount of attendees who can come in. I believe the parking lot is not available publicly. I'm not sure about staff, since I did see a few people coming in and out, but I don't know, that could be staff. So of course, if the parking lot is closed for the convention center, that might limit the amount of attendees who might want to go this year because it's just an added inconvenience. You'd probably have to find parking in the vicinity of the convention center rather than at the lot itself. I don't know, nor can I really talk about that situation because I didn't come with a car. I've been walking to and from the hotel to here each time. Would I do this event again? I would 100% apply for this con again. If I get lucky, maybe I'll be here next year, but who knows, because even just seeing the amount of artists who did get in this year, a lot of us are first-time Kawaii Kon vendors. There's like a few of us from California that I recognize from the other NorCal and SoCal cons, and a good amount of us are doing this convention for the first time. So it's really nice to see some familiar faces. I also want to give a quick thank you, even though I feel like I've done this earlier in this vlog, but thank you so much to everyone who stopped by and said hi, especially if you're from social media, from YouTube, or have just watched my content in any of the platforms. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's really nice to see a lot of y'all for the first time or meet y'all for the first time, and really appreciate the gifts. You did not have to do that. Like all the snacks and all the love is just very much appreciated, so thank you so much for stopping by. It's always very heartwarming to come into a new state that I've never vended before and seeing many new faces, so really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and felt very welcomed here at this convention, so thank you. If you didn't already, I do have a Patreon. I post my behind the scenes and upcoming products and designs over on Patreon, and in my Biz Buddies tier, I do post more artisali tips and convention reviews that I don't post on social media or YouTube. If you wanted to support me and my channel, consider supporting me on Patreon. Now for the question, should you apply for this convention? I will say that my answer might be similar to my previous con vlogs, just with a slight twist. First of all, if you're local, 100% do it. From my understanding with this convention, this is the largest anime convention in Hawaii. I don't know if there is another anime con. I am familiar with, is it like Super Saturday? There's like different small events, but I wouldn't say they're a convention or an anime convention. So if you are looking to vend here for any reason, Kawaii Kon would be the main convention in Hawaii. I believe there's another comic convention that Kelsey Kishi Draws has vlogged about. I don't remember what it's called, but even parking is actually not too bad. I believe it's about $15 if you were to park here, which is like half the price for Anime Expo, so 15 is quite nice, especially when mall parking in Los Angeles sometimes can amount to $12. However, if you're not local, some things to know. I did say that I am from Los Angeles, so my flight to LAX from here is not too bad. I think it was about a 5 to 6 hour flight, and it was direct. I believe my tickets were around $700 per person. However, I did fly Delta, so it is slightly more expensive compared to if you've probably flown with Alaska or Hawaiian Airlines, Southwest. It's probably drastically cheaper. I just have Delta status, so it just made more sense for me to fly with Delta. Hotel can get expensive here on the island. I believe on the lower end, it might be around $200 per night, and on the higher end, $300, $400, if not more, depending on where you're staying. For cons like this, I try to choose a hotel that can be walked to. Of course, your definition of how well you can walk to this con is relative because, of course, you have to consider your own limitations on walking and also temperature. It is quite warm and it's pretty humid here, so if you're not a fan of that, maybe choose a hotel that's closer or just Uber over here if you have the budget for it. All that being said, I did spend around $1,700 for the hotel, but that is because we're staying here for a week rather than the typical fly in Thursday, fly out Sunday or Monday. So of course that would be a lot cheaper, probably $1,000 or less than 1K. But if you are not local to this convention, if essentially you're flying in, most likely you're flying in, right? You do have to treat this convention like a vacation con because it can be very expensive to vend here because not only are you paying for your table, which is relatively affordable, I will say. For $300, that is about the same price as some of the tables in the Midwest, whereas in SoCal, NorCal, it is usually on the 400 to 700 scale of tables, so 300 is really nice. But not only do you have to pay for the table, you might have to pay for an extra badge if you're bringing someone with you, you're paying for hotel, you're paying for flights. It can add up and it's quite expensive. And on top of that, you're paying for food, which is, if you want to try good food, I wouldn't want to cheap out personally. Maybe it's because I'm a foodie, but I would not want to cheap out on food. Eating cup noodle ramen in the hotel, like no, I want poke, I want good poke, I want unagi, all those things. So you're paying for food, you're paying for all these things, it's gonna add up. And of course it'll keep totaling up because I still have to pay for other food throughout the day. I'll also share the total later on in this video if you're curious. But essentially, if you think that you can possibly cover, I'd say minimum 3K. Of course, there's some people who might have family here, so they can cover that cost or can share a hotel with someone, so you don't have to pay 1K or so. Those are some great ways to try to save money if you want to vend here, but not have to spend upwards of 3K plus, but that is something to note. If you want to vend in the Artist Alley for Kawaii Kon, it can get expensive. If that's a yes or no, it depends on you. Even asking the question, would I want to try for a pro table? I would like to. I have noticed that I tend to do better if I have a larger space because I have so much stuff. I mean, it's a lot of stuff, right? And I feel that a good amount of people can get overwhelmed with the amount of items, especially in a small space. However, if I have an 8-foot table, I can spread it out a little bit more. It's not as overwhelming to look at. So I feel that I tend to get more sales that way. Even with outside forces like the economy, I would try for a pro table, TLDR, but we'll even see if I get it next year. Suzu Miki! Yay! Yeah.
You and Ivy should come back.
I told Ivy, but she was like, one of my table neighbors gave me a malasada. Excited. I did try one, I realized, but not from this particular place. So very excited. This one is with cinnamon sugar. Thank you, Ari. Really airy. I'm having a malasada. My table neighbor gave me it. It's really good. You want to say hi to the vlog? Okay, sure. Yeah. I haven't posted in so long. Hello. Hi. No donkey visit is complete without an Otani Itoen green tea, of course. I got 2 of them, so one of them I can keep as a souvenir. It's a new one. I don't think I've seen this Otani bottle before. It's the unsweetened green tea, and it's Otani on the back. ABC store. Poke is so good. It's like, why is it so good? It's 12:31. I thought it was like a late lunch, but I forgot that con started early. We're having a spicy ahi poke bowl. Delicious. We did try this yesterday and it was so good, and it's from ABC store. This one was $8.99. Not bad. I feel like you can't really go wrong with poke here, honestly. We really like Foodland. I keep trying to say Foodieland. The one that we got yesterday was from Foodland. That one was really good, but it was a bit on the pricier side if you don't know how to order, because we got stressed out the first time, but now we know. And it ended up being like $13 per bowl. It was like pretty filling. I know I felt pretty full. I'm gonna miss this when I'm back in LA. Look at that. Can you see that? Delicious. There's like furikake on it too. Like the rice is like sushi rice. It's so good. I'm not gonna lie, I've had poke every day. This is the life I've dreamed of. Is having poke every day.
So good.
It's so good. And ABC stores is, if you've never been to Hawaii, it's basically like their convenience store. It's so good. And then they have a deal that I know Henry mentioned yesterday. I think from April 25th to May 1st. Buy 2 spam musubi for $5. It's great. Oh, excuse me. Yay! It is now 1:50. 2 hours until con ends or so. Actually, it does end at 4. I don't know why it says 5 p.m.
Really?
Yeah, because there's a sign outside that says right in front of or right after security that says Artist Alley and dealers close at 4 p.m. So it's a little confusing. I'm not quite sure why, but I mean, with the times listed, they do want you to be flexible. So even though it does say exhibit hall closes at 5, it actually ends at 4. Today's hours are from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I'm not quite sure if everyone knew that it opened at 9 a.m., which I was going to be here early regardless. I would say that 9 to 10 a.m. was kind of like Artist Alley network hour, even though that's when Artist Alley is open. So it was nice chatting with a few other artists and meeting new people or chatting with new faces. So thank you if you said hi. I mean, you know who you are, my mutuals. Looking at the map of this convention center, I believe it's in the same hall as it usually is, just based on other people's vlogs. This con is very location dependent. So if you see on the map here, the back is autographs, right? However, from my knowledge, if you are towards the back of the Artist Alley, your spot might not be as busy compared to others in the front. On the left side is the regular standard Artist Alley table, and on the right of it is the pro table spots, which are a little bit more expensive because you are paying for an 8-foot space. However, I don't think you can really go wrong. Just do note that your location might be in your favor, if not against you, and in that case, if you are towards the back, I would recommend joining a stamp rally, because out of all the conventions I have ever done, I have never been asked so many times if I was in a stamp rally. I swear, never. I think I was at how many times was I asked? Like 4 times? I was asked if I was in a stamp rally 4 times. That has never happened to me. Like, not even once at any convention. No one ever asked me if I'm in a stamp rally, even if I'm not in one. It sounds like I'm angry, I'm not, okay? I just thought it was funny. I was like, oh, so interesting. I mean, I would be open to being in a stamp rally for Kawaii Kon. I just was not feeling it because I already have a lot to say when I'm doing my transaction. So if you've bought from me, you know this. Here's my role play. Hi, welcome. And then let's say you buy something, let's say $50, right? $50 is the max of getting everything, or the minimum to get everything. It's like, okay, here's the card transaction, blah, blah, blah. Oh, $15 minimum, you get this ribbon and this ribbon. That's number 2. Number 3. Oh, you spent over $25. Here's your musubi sticker. Number 4. Oh, you spent $50. You get a free tote bag. So I'm saying all these things with every single customer. It's quite a mouthful. Imagine adding a 6th one where I have to say, oh, you spent $12 minimum purchase. I'm part of the stamp rally. Here you go. Done. It's too much for me to say. I do like the idea of having an exclusive sticker, which a lot of people really loved. So that is a sign for me to do that again. Do I want to be in a stamp rally? It depends on how I'm feeling. Maybe I might do a stamp rally and then maybe I won't bring ribbons. Also, I don't even remember if I mentioned this, but Kawaii Kon's kind of a ribbon convention. Well, not kind of. They're not necessarily a ribbon convention, but a lot of artists are bringing ribbons to this con. And from what it seems like, no one has asked me how ribbons work. Maybe one person seemed confused, but other than that, it seemed like everyone knew how a ribbon worked at a convention. Essentially, if you're not familiar, I don't have it on my badge because I didn't want it to fray, but you can essentially put your ribbon on your badge. I wouldn't say that this is shaped for ribbons. If you look at this one, this is like a typical standard ribbon size, but it's the bigger size, right? If you want the one that would fit this, it's slightly smaller. You can go with Marco promos or PC name tag. I'm not going to promote either one of them, but obviously it doesn't fit, right? So one way is to put one here and then put one here, and then it adds that so that the adhesive is not sticking out if you don't want it to get dirty. I think if it is more of a ribbon-centric convention, it would adapt. Like, let's say it would be like this. Like, the lanyard would be up here, and it'd be wider, and it would fit. But that's not the case, right? But there are a lot of people who are giving out ribbons. Attendees seem to know what to do with them. So if you have ribbons, some extra ribbons, I wouldn't say to produce ribbons for this convention specifically unless you want to. I personally wouldn't do that, but I had a lot of extra ribbons from ALA, and so I wanted to use them up before the next ALA. In terms of IP, I know for lads, did I bring it up in lads? Usually, depending on the state, certain people like other love interests more than the others. I know for the West Coast, they love Silas, they love Caleb. I'm not quite sure about MegaCon, I'm trying to remember, but I don't quite remember what Florida likes. I know they like Xavier and they like Caleb, but for Kawaii Kon, Hawaii really loves Xavier. I think I sold half of my Xavier stock this weekend, whereas Raphael was not touched at all. RIP that fish boy. No one liked that boy, which is so sad because his myth rerun is happening right now. And I feel like it's appropriate because he's a mermaid, but he's not selling. It's kind of sad. In terms of Kawaii Kon numbers, I'm gonna take a guess as to how much today is right now. If it's the same as Friday, honestly, like it's definitely better than MegaCon for sure. Like much better than MegaCon. Not by like a drastic number or drastic difference, but it is better than MegaCon. And MegaCon is 4 days, so that's saying something. I was talking with another artist who has been doing this con for over 10 years, and she's also said that it just varies. You have to have a lot of new product. It also depends on your location. She's in a much better spot. She was like much closer to the front, and she said that this year was better than last year, and this year does have construction, so I would just do your best to prepare for that. Also, in terms of location, I'm not sure if this was the case the past few years of Kawaii Kon. However, the way they number the tables is similar to that of a comic convention where one row is odd number tables and the other row is even number tables. I'm actually not sure why that is usually more useful. I'm gonna be honest. For our case, we're G128, right? Next to us is 126, and then next to us is 130. It is not 127 and 129. They're across from us. I don't know if there is a more efficient way. Maybe that is more efficient than having them 1 through 10 in actual number order rather than odd and even, but something to notice. But also with this convention, at least this year, our tables were also not labeled. So I essentially had to make sure I'm in the right aisle. So I'm in aisle G, and then count off the table based off of the map to make sure that I am setting up on the correct table and not on someone else's. Not so great, especially if you came late and someone else might be setting up on your table, but they already set up, or their setup is too complicated that it would be a bit much to move that table, especially if you're in a stamp rally where you do have to be relatively precise, especially if you already put a circle around where your table is on the map. I do appreciate that they have letters on the aisles. Oh, he's so cute.
What the heck?
It actually looks like you. Someone just gave Henry fan art. Look at that. It actually looks like him. Look at that.
Cool.
That's him.
Shout out customer Deca.
Yeah. It's me. It's me. We're getting ramen in the Asian Sticks part of the mall near Waikiki Beach, and it looks so yummy. For dessert, we got shave ice, and this is my favorite shave ice ever. It's so good. This one is I low-key don't remember. However, it does come with acai and strawberry, and the shave ice is so soft, and it comes with froyo in the center. It's not just any kind of froyo. It's more of a very creamy froyo, and it comes with mochi pieces, blueberry, and strawberry, and it looks so delicious. Ooh. Now that you know my experience vending here in Hawaii, if you're curious about what it's like vending in Florida at one of Orlando's largest comic conventions, click on this video here to see my experience at MegaCon this year, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!